Okay, get back to the point. We were up to bond enthalpy. Okay. And in a bond enthalpy, we were discussing how to define it. Theoretically, when it is stated as it is the enthalpy change accompanying a cleavage of 1 mole of a particular covalent bond. Now, when we are restricting to the 1 mole of a covalent bond, we are not related with the amount of substrate. We are related with the number of bonds in that substrate. ह्या पूर्वी जे एन्थाल्पी चेंजेस आपण स्टडी केले ना, तर त्यामध्ये आपण हे स्टेट केलं की जो अमाऊंट आपण चूज करतो तो बाय क्वांटिटी 1 मोल असतो आणि त्यातले 1 मोल इलेक्ट्रॉन रिमूव्ह करतो, आपण ॲड करतो, 1 मोल बॉन्डचं क्लिवेज करतो समथिंग. बट हिअर वी आर रिलेटेड विथ 1 मोल ऑफ अ पर्टिक्युलर कोवॅलंट बॉन्ड इज ब्रोकन. त्याचं थेरोटिकल मिनिंग काय पहा, वेन वी ब्रेक 1 मोल ऑफ मिथेन कन्वर्टिंग इंटू कार्बन अँड 2 मोल्स ऑफ H2 gases, in the process of conversion we have to break 4 CH bond per methane molecule. So when we break 1 mole methane molecule, actually we will break 4 moles of a CH bond. So enthalpy change in this particular process, this will be enthalpy of decomposition for a methane. We can say it is atomization enthalpy for it. If we assume this carbon is gaseous and the next carbon is produced, hydrogen is produced in elemental state, instead of elemental state it is in atomic state. So this corresponding enthalpy change, whatever it is the enthalpy for decomposition of methane molecule. 1 mole of methane molecule is broken down at the cost of rupture of 4 moles of a CH bond. And if we are about to find out enthalpy for a CH bond, we can say enthalpy for CH bond is equal to enthalpy change in a decomposition of methane molecule divided by 4. If we have certain X amount of energy required for cleavage of this molecule, then X by 4 will be the value of bond enthalpy for a CH bond, because that X involves rupture of all 4 bonds. Getting it? So what the bond enthalpy stand for is, bond enthalpy is the enthalpy change accompanying breaking of 1 mole of a particular covalent bond from a gaseous state of that substance. Now to obtain what, in what state of in what amount that substrate should be there, it is not related. To obtain some term stable, that is valid. To take the amount by 1/3 mole, 1/4 mole, that is even valid. If we take a 1/4 mole of a CH4 and break down that, then we would get the enthalpy change for a 1/4 mole of CH4. Enthalpy for 1/4 mole of CH4 and bond enthalpy will be same, because that is the amount of energy required. So when we relate with the bond enthalpy, we should be related with the quantity of bonds, number of bonds which are broken down. It is not related with the amount of substrate. Okay, so make it clear. Then next to that is the substrate should be taken in a gaseous state and then it is decomposed into desired products. This is also not involving conversion of the gaseous molecule into corresponding gaseous atoms. No. If we convert a gaseous molecule into atoms, then it will become enthalpy of atomization, and enthalpy of atomization is a different thing. It is not a decomposition enthalpy for it, or we can say enthalpy for a cleavage of that molecule. Getting it? So bond enthalpy, as long as concerned, it is defined for a 1 mole. So as in convention we can say bond enthalpy, this should be expressed in kilojoule per mole. As a characteristics, it should be intensive, and with the sign this one should be positive, because energy is given to break the bond. There is nothing to discuss about it. Okay. So bond enthalpy for any molecule, theoretically it will be, it is the enthalpy change accompanying cleavage of 1 mole of particular covalent bond from a gaseous state of that molecule. That is only the enthalpy for a bond cleavage. When we relate with enthalpy of atomization for a homodiatomic molecule, delta atom H for homo diatomic molecule. Like a H2. Then enthalpy of atomization is nothing but a cleavage of a bond between them, and by quantity if we take 1 mole of H2, then we will conduct a cleavage of 1 mole bond. So, in this particular case for a diatomic molecules we can say atomization enthalpy is equal to their bond enthalpy. For this particular case homodiatomic molecule, enthalpy of atomization, this can be taken as bond enthalpy for it. For other cases we should take count how many bonds per molecule are there, and then total enthalpy for decomposition, that should be divided by those number of bonds in the molecule, and we will get the enthalpy for individual bond, which will be again expressed in kilojoule per mole, means as an numerical property or as an physical property, it is defined for 1 mole of that substance. Okay. So, these were some of serial enthalpy changes we studied in 2 sections, enthalpies of phase transitions and enthalpies of atomic and molecular changes. Okay. Now, next to this we will start Born-Haber cycle, which is related with standard formation enthalpy and crystal lattice enthalpy for ionic substances. Okay. Now, because these 2 terms are involved in a Born-Haber cycle, first we will see what is a standard formation enthalpy and crystal lattice enthalpy, and next to that we will move to Born-Haber cycle. Okay. So, after a serial enthalpy changes, we will see standard formation enthalpy. Standard formation enthalpy is denoted as delta FH0. When 0 is written on a upscript, that means it is a standard value, and when just delta FH0 just delta FH is given, that means it is a mere formation, only formation, not the standard one. Now, what is difference? First we will see how to define a formation enthalpy. Standard formation enthalpy is defined as it is the enthalpy change accompanying formation of 1 mole of substance. 1 mole of a substance in its standard state. Now, what is the standard state? A common state of that molecule in which it exists under normal temperature pressure conditions. The physical state of substance in which it exists under a common ordinary temperature pressure condition is called its a standard state. For example, if it is a ammonia, then it should be gaseous. If it is methane, then it should be gaseous. If it is NaCl, then it should be solid. If it is water, then it should be liquid. These are their standard states. So, this process is actually what? It is the formation of 1 mole of substance in its standard state from its constituent elements. Whatever the reactants are, they are the constituent elements of that molecule, which are in their standard states. Means whatever the elements we have, they are again in their standard state. Means as an element, if we have hydrogen as a reactant, then it should be gaseous. If a sodium is a reactant, then it should be solid. Some oxygen is a gas, it is a reactant, then it should be gaseous. So, the process involves formation of 1 mole of substance in its standard form from its constituent elements which are again in their standard state, and that the process is called as standard formation, and enthalpy accompanying that conversion is called as enthalpy of standard formation or standard formation enthalpy. Let us see a representative example here. Now, suppose we are about to form water. Then according to the required condition, water should be formed by quantity 1 mole and it should be in a liquid state. Now, for formation of 1 mole of water in a liquid state, we will require hydrogen, which is elemental gas, so in a gaseous state, plus we will require oxygen, which is elemental gas, so it is again in a gaseous state, but by quantity it should be 1/2 mole because we require just 1 mole oxygen. So, forming 1 mole of water in a liquid state from 1 mole of H2 gas and half mole of O2 gas is called a standard formation equation for water, and enthalpy change in this particular process can be treated as delta F/0, standard formation enthalpy of the process. Getting it? Now, suppose the reaction is for a formation of ammonia, and as in standard reaction it is given as twice of NH3 gaseous is produced from N2 gaseous plus 3 H2 gaseous. Now, it is balanced and correct equation for formation of ammonia. In this equation, we require ammonia. Standard state of ammonia is a gaseous. So, we have ammonia, it is in gaseous state. It is produced from its elements. Elements are nitrogen and hydrogen. Nitrogen exists in a gaseous form. It is present in a gaseous state. Hydrogen exists in a gaseous form, it is present in a gaseous state, but still then it is not formation reaction. Sorry, it is not a standard formation reaction. Now, why it is not formation? Because standard formation involves formation for a 1 mole of substance, and in this reaction we produced 2 moles of ammonia. If we consider this one for 1 mole NH3 in a gaseous state, and that will require half mole of N2 gas and 3/2 moles of H2 gas, and now this will become a standard formation equation. Got it? So, as an convention, what the process relate is, it is involving formation of 1 mole of a substance in its gaseous state, in its standard state from its constituent elements which are also in their gaseous or standard state. Clear? So, when the constituents are in an elemental standard state, product is produced in its standard state, amount of product is a 1 mole, amount of its reactant is required according to 1 mole, then the equation become a standard formation equation, and practically standard formation is a hypothetical reaction, it is always not possible. Why? Suppose we are about to write standard formation equation for H2SO4. Now, sulfuric acid is a liquid acid. Commonly it exists in a liquid state. Now, formation will involve 3 elements: hydrogen, sulfur and oxygen. We know that hydrogen exists in a gaseous state, sulfur exists in a solid state, oxygen exists in a gaseous state. For 1 mole of H2SO4, we will require 1 mole of H2, 1 mole sulfur atom and 2 moles of O2 unit, and this should produce H2SO4. But when we start a reaction with sulfur powder and hydrogen and oxygen gas is passed on it, there are possibilities of many other products, it will not result H2SO4. What those possibilities are? Hydrogen oxygen may combine to result water, Sulfur oxygen may combine to result SO2. Hydrogen sulfur may combine to result H2S. Many of the products are there. So, it is not always regulated that when these three will be taken in this amount in an elemental state, that will convert to H2SO4. No, formation of H2SO4 cannot be given as such. So, this is a hypothetical change basically. Clear? So, like a atomization, as we stated, atomization is sometimes real, sometimes a hypothetical. Standard formation is also sometimes real and sometimes hypothetical change it is. Okay. So, what the standard formation enthalpy is basically, it is the enthalpy change accompanying formation of 1 mole of a substance in its standard state from its constituent elements which are again in their standard state. That is enthalpy of standard formation. Now, suppose the standard formation equation is a set for 1 mole of NaCl. NaCl is a salt, so it should exist in a solid state, 1 mole, and the process should begin from elemental sodium plus chlorine is the another element which commonly exists as Cl2 gas, and by quantity we will require half mole of it. So, Na solid plus half mole Cl2 converted to 1 mole NaCl solid. The enthalpy change for the process is called as standard formation enthalpy for NaCl. When we produce 1 mole of a crystalline solid, 1 mole of a crystalline solid is obtained from its constituent ions which are present in their gaseous state. Then the corresponding enthalpy change is called as a crystal lattice enthalpy. Crystal lattice enthalpy. Theoretically, it is defined as enthalpy change accompanying formation of 1 mole of crystalline solid from its constituent ions which are present in a gaseous state. When ions in a gaseous state combine together to result a crystalline solid mass, and amount of that generated solid mass is a 1 mole, then the resulting enthalpy change is called as crystal lattice enthalpy, which is denoted as delta LH value. So, these two are the two different terms that we are related with the Born-Haber cycle: standard formation enthalpy and crystal lattice enthalpy. Out of these two, this standard formation enthalpy is easily measurable because the change is experimentally possible, or the process or formation is experimentally possible. But we can't judge when metallic sodium convert to Na plus gas and when this Cl convert to Cl minus gaseous. That occurs during the process. At which point they have converted to these stages, that we don't know. But it is very clear that whenever we start reaction with the sodium and chlorine gas, they gradually convert to this stage. And in this particular stage, they unite together and convert to crystalline solid. So, this particular change, which is called a crystal lattice formation, is the step in a formation of this crystalline material. But for that particular step, we can't find out, we can't judge where actually it occurs, at what instance it will start from the beginning. So, once we start the reaction and we will reach to NaCl solid, that entire process will involve reaction begin from sodium solid, chlorine gas, and finally converted to NaCl solid. So, that whole change will be standard formation, and during that standard formation, this will be the one of a step where the enthalpy measured is a crystal lattice enthalpy. Born-Haber cycle is a cyclic progress which enable us to calculate the value of crystal lattice enthalpy from a cyclic representation of NaCl formation. Okay. Now, how that help us to find out this crystal lattice enthalpy, that we will see through the progress for NaCl formation in a Born-Haber cycle. Okay. So, next to this we will start with Born-Haber cycle, a very easy convention it is. Now, suppose process for formation of NaCl, it started with sodium solid and half mole of Cl2 gas, because this much we require. Once we start the process, first this sodium will convert to Na gaseous, metallic mass solid converted to gas. This is the enthalpy change which is called enthalpy of sublimation, solid converted to gas. Then produced gas is converted to Na plus gaseous by loss of electron. This is called ionization enthalpy, because it begins with a gaseous mass convert into gaseous cation. And now metallic sodium is ready to combine with Cl minus to form NaCl. So, one of reactant is now ready. Half mole of Cl2 molecules we have. Half the Avogadro number of molecules are there. First, this Cl2 molecule will be broken down into chlorine gaseous atoms. Breaking of half mole Cl2 molecule into 1 mole of chlorine gaseous atom, this is enthalpy of atomization, delta atom H. And then this produced gaseous atoms are converted into Cl minus gaseous. Conversion of 1 mole gaseous atom into 1 mole of gaseous anion, the enthalpy change is called electron gain enthalpy. The point is, all of these 4 enthalpy changes which we discussed in previous lectures, they all are measurable values, perfectly measurable for individual elements. Next, when Na plus gaseous combine with Cl minus gaseous and get converted to crystalline NaCl solid, this corresponding enthalpy change is called crystal lattice enthalpy, and this we need to calculate, that we are going to solve, obtain it. Okay. Now, next thing, if we start with a metallic sodium and gaseous chlorine, and these are two directly converted into NaCl solid, then this process involves formation of 1 mole crystalline solid from elemental sodium and elemental chlorine in their standard state. NaCl produced in its standard state. So, this corresponding enthalpy change is a delta FH0, standard formation enthalpy. Now, let us assume that we are starting with this reactant, this is our point of initiation. We reach to this product, this is our final point, point of termination. This is a one way in which we converted Na and Cl into crystalline NaCl. This is a one of a way which involve many steps in it. And this one is the another alternative way by which we converted Na and chlorine direct into NaCl. This involves a single step. Now, when we relate with enthalpy in these two changes, we know that enthalpy is independent of how many steps are there. It is not related with that. It is a state function, depends on initial and final state only. So, enthalpy change in a first course of transition and in second course of transition, both them should be same, both of them should be equal to each other because enthalpy is a state function. So enthalpy change in a first progress and enthalpy change in a alternative progress, both by quantity are equal to each other, and because they are equal to each other, as a mathematical conclusion we can say this standard formation enthalpy is nothing but sum of all of these enthalpy changes. And what those changes are? Successively sublimation enthalpy plus ionization enthalpy plus atomization enthalpy plus electron gain enthalpy and finally the crystal lattice enthalpy. Out of the total enthalpy changes dictated in the final equation, we know that formation is a measurable, these four are measurable, this is only the hypothetical term which we can't measure. So we can rearrange the equation for a crystal lattice enthalpy, and this will be equal to standard formation enthalpy minus sum of first four enthalpies as sublimation H plus ionization H plus atomization H plus electron gain. And this is the final equation from Born-Haber cycle which enable us to find out crystal lattice enthalpy for any material solid when it is obtained from its constituent element. The progress is given in the same way for all the crystalline materials. Throughout the progress, commonly measurable physical enthalpy changes are the common enthalpy changes. Only the non-measurable or hypothetical changes conversion of a gaseous cation and anion into corresponding crystalline solid. When we form NaCl solid, we can't judge during the progress when Na plus gas is formed and at what state Cl minus gas is there. So as a result, we can't detect the enthalpy of this course, and that can be calculated by using the final equation. Okay, then the present lecture मध्ये आपण इथे थांबू. मग अपकमिंग लेक्चर मध्ये आपण आणखी काही एन्थाल्पी चेंजेस अँड थर्मोकेमिकल इक्वेशन फॉर अ enthalpy calculations form. Okay. So in present we will stop here, and in upcoming lecture we would continue with the next terms. Thank you.